Hello everyone, welcome back to another video for Destiny 2 Shadowkeep. Today we'll be going over the brand new exotic that was included in Shadowkeep, the StormDancer's Brace, and the new perk, Ascending Amplitude. Each enemy killed by Storm Trance increases the damage you deal with the initial Storm Trance. This does not work with the ultimate blast super, I literally forget the name, it's fine. But we're going to do some testing and I'm going to give you guys the buff. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the bottom tree first, and we're going to test to see if there's any initial, decreases in damage when you do it. So we're on the good old ogre here. So landfall initial is 4603. The bottom tree is 2604 to 3906. A normal enemy is 2039 and 3059. A major enemy is the same. And then max hit increases by about 150% when you initially keep going with the super. We're going to use the top tree now to see if there's any initial difference. Top tree does a little bit less damage by 2604 to 3906. Same normal enemy and major enemy damage, and the max hit does increase by 150% again. By max hit, I mean when you keep holding down the button on the boss. So now we're going to do it with StormDancer's Brace. I keep wanting to say Storm Trancer. With StormDancer's Brace, and we're going to see how much the initial, increase in damage is. So we're going to get a max stack of the actual thing, and we're going to, do some testing. The Ascending Amplitude buff, the duration is about 8 seconds, which resets every time you get a kill. Max stacks is 5. Top and bottom tree are the same with 4605 to 6,884 damage, and landfall does at least twice the amount of damage. Ascending Amplitude, the buff stack increase is 456, 912, 1368, 1824, and 2280. Max hit increases by 150%. So far, in the initial Storm Trance Super, when you get it up to max, you're doing initially 300% more damage. So now, guys, we're going to jump into the numerical values of landfall without the exotic first. I'm going to calculate the initial buff of supers, not any combinations because there's so many, but we're going to just show them on screen now. So landfall paired with the Well of Radiance is 6214. Empowering Rift, Guiding Flame, Banner Shield, the Divinity, and Weapons of Light all share the same buff of 25%. Hammer Strike and Tether roughly have a 700 power difference, which is, really good. Landfall paired with the exotic. Now, Will of Radiance is 11610. Empowering Rift, Guiding Flame, Banner Shield, Weapons of Light, and Divinity all share the same. Hammer Strike is 12,900 and Tether is 11,610. This will maximum go up to a thing of 280%, which is nuts. The fact that this exotic greatly improves landfall and can potentially one-shot supers is just, well, landfall already kind of one-shot supers, but with this, landfall can now one-shot supers, which is kind of nuts. So now we're going to jump into the actual damage of Storm Trance. So Storm Trance actually paired with each super. The Well of Radiance, it does, approximately 2753 to 4130, and then ultras, I differentiated the damage and kind of added the Empowering Rift, Guiding Flame, Banner Shield, Weapons of Light, and Divinity all together, because they all buff it by a thing of 25%. Paired with it, you see a big increase in the numbers, as you guys can see on screen. Just pause the video, I'll briefly explain the numbers, but it goes up by a big damage increase of 175%. For super in PvE, that is actually very good. Those numbers significantly can improve the way that you clear ads. I'd say the one problem with this, though, is while this StormDancer's Brace is good, I still think that I still say with this particular super of Storm Trance, the Crown of Tempest still reigns supreme. I mean, let's face it, guys, you ever go into a strike and do you still use Storm Trance? I mean, all the other trees are just so much better. This exotic, while it is very good, the numbers are, statistically they make sense. They don't, the damage fall off isn't too great. And we've calculated approximately what it does to bosses, what it does to ultras, what it does to majors. I mean, ultras and bosses are kind of the same thing, but normal ads. While we calculated that, I would just have to say that the Crown of Tempest, like I said, is way better. It does improve it a little bit, but there's not really too much more to say about the PvE side of it. You guys can see in some of the footage that I've shown on screen that it does melt through big groups of ads, but the problem is you got to get the buff off. For example, like in Destiny 1, the bad juju had a buff of String of Curses, and in this one you have to get it up to ×5 for it to be really useful. In Destiny 2, you just don't have the time to get it up to that kind of damage when you're facing off against a boss in a raid. For raids, this exotic is probably one of the worst, just because of the fact that, you know, you won't be able to, 9 times out of 10 with bosses, you won't be able to hit them with this. But the landfall for Crucible, and I wanted to get into the Crucible side, it's about 186, and with it, it's about 372, so it does double the damage of landfall in Crucible. So you'll be able to one-shot people out of their supers, you'll be able to one-shot Guardians instead of just doing like that, you know, 186 damage and just falling short of that 200 damage, because Guardians have a maximum health pool of 200. But even then, landfall, you're kind of only getting off, maybe, if you can get your super, I think the most I've ever seen is about 300. So, you know, you're still getting it off very, very rarely. And for this to take an exotic spot in the Crucible when you're, you know, constantly trying to outshoot enemies and make sure that you can, like, win over a certain opponent, it kind of falls short of that, because you always have to use your super. In Mayhem, it's not too bad, but the normal version of Storm Trance, it's about 2 seconds a kill, but with the brace plus the buff, it's about 2 seconds to an instant kill. There were times in the clip that you can see on screen where it did insta-kill people, and I had the buff going, but the problem is it did end up doing the 2-second kill, so it did fall a bit inconsistent in that aspect, and I was a little bit disappointed because I had played through 6 or 7 games. A lot of this footage I kind of just captured in one game. And I played 6 or 7 games with this exotic, and unfortunately every single time the numbers were just very inconsistent. In Crucible only, in Vanguard strikes and just PvE in general, the numbers were almost exact every time. Or they were exact, actually. That's what exact means. But in Crucible, the numbers, like, it would insta-kill, you know, one group of enemies, and then the next time I would use it, it wouldn't. But we have the rankings on screen. For PvE, I want to give this a 4 out of 10. Just is not viable in raids, and against bosses, it's minuscule because you got to get the buffs off. PvP, unfortunately, the amount of damage that it does is very inconsistent. Landfall is the only good thing, but that's not enough to save it. Overall, it's about 7 out of 20. You know, I'm marking this out of 20, you know, plus PvE and PvP because we want to know that. So the percentage of this is about 35% in my book. Unfortunately, this, I hate to say it, but StormDancer's, you know, brace kind of gets a fail. I'm sorry, it's not a good exotic. It falls short against bosses. Inconsistent damage in the Crucible prove that this gun just simply can't, not gun, sorry, this piece of armor just simply can't measure up to any other exotic. There are way better exotics for Storm Trance and for the middle tree of actual Stormcaller. And let's face it, guys, do you ever really see anyone running around in StormDancer anymore? Storm Trance, not StormDancer. God, I'm calling it 2 different things now. No, because unfortunately it's just an outdated super. But that's been my review on this. It was a little bit, you know, hashed together. The numbers were really, really all over the place, and hopefully you guys understood it. I put a lot of work into this video. I know it doesn't seem that way, but I did. I calculated the numbers. I do feel like Dado, but I want to say, guys, thank you very much for watching if you made it this far in the video. If you could do me a favor, hit that like button, comment down below what you think. Let me know if you want to hear more exotic reviews of this to see if it's good or not. And just hit the notification box, guys. I'm posting videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, Sunday, depending on what content there is to post about. But as always, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Do me a favor, just show up on the next one, please. Anyways, take care, guys. Have a good day.